If you watched my last video, then you'll remember that we spoke about some of the things that can make your running, particularly your sprinting, more efficient. In today's video, we're going to be talking about ground contact time, which is another factor that if you improve it, can influence how efficient your running is. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about this, then keep watching. Hi guys, and welcome back to Fit with T. I hope you guys are good. So today we are talking about ground contact time, also known as GCT. So what is ground contact time? Ground contact time is essentially the time that your foot is in contact with the ground. So in sprinting, from the point that you land on the ball of your foot as your foot strikes the ground to the point where you toe off or the foot comes off of the ground, that is your ground contact time. The meaning is in the name, right? So if you're a jogger, if you're a casual runner, then your ground contact time could be from heel to toe. But as a sprinter, you should be running on the ball of your foot. And if you haven't checked out this video, then I encourage you to check that out. Because as a sprinter, no, we do not run on our toes. We run on the ball of our foot. The average sprinter is going to spend about 100 milliseconds on the ground, anywhere from like 0.14, 0.12, 0.1 second on the ground. And less than that, obviously, the faster that you are, the less that's going to be. As the race progresses, the lower that ground contact time is going to be, right? Usain Bolt, when he ran 9.58, his ground contact time was as little as 0.08 seconds or 80 milliseconds. So what are some of the factors that influence your ground contact time? I've already spoken about one of those, and that is going to be your speed or your cadence. Studies show that the quicker you are moving, the less your ground contact time is going to be. Of course, if you're walking, you spend much longer on the ground. Your GCT is going to be a lot longer. If you're jogging, of course, the ground contact time begins to decrease from walking to striding to sprinting. So the faster you're going, you see that ground contact time decreases. Your ankle stiffness is going to be a factor that influences your ground contact time. And so if you haven't checked out this video, I encourage you to check it out, because in that video, I talked to you guys about what ankle stiffness is and its importance when it comes to sprinting. So when you look at a new sprinter, a younger sprinter, you often see that heel collapsing and them spend a longer time before they push off again off of that floor. A more experienced sprinter, a more elite sprinter, they're able to maintain that stiff ankle, and so the energy that they put in, the force that they put in, they're able to get more of it out. That energy that they store in their tendons, they're able to release it much quicker rather than spending a long time on the ground and where the energy is dispersed and lost because the heel collapses and you lose some of that springiness, right? Where you are in your race, where you are in terms of your position, your angles is also going to affect your ground contact time. So if you think about the dry phase compared to when you're in your upright max velocity running, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you check out this video. But if you think about the differences, as we build up our speed and as we begin to move into upright running, we tend to spend less time on the ground when we're in our upright running, when we're in a more upright position. And where there's more vertical forces being applied, you tend to see that you have less ground contact time at that point as well. So positions, your position and your technique is going to play a role as to your ground contact time, because when you look at your shin angle, when you look at where your foot lands in regard to your body, is your foot underneath your center of mass, and are you able to push off more effectively? That's going to influence how long you spend on the ground. If your foot lands in front of you and you're in a more braking position, you're going to end up spending longer on the ground because it's going to be more time before your torso or your center of mass can pass over your foot again. There's more time, and so your foot has to spend longer on the ground. So if you can land in the right positions, if you can get your technique more efficient, that's going to be a factor that's going to help to decrease your ground contact time as well. So that's why we train not only, for fitness, that's why we also train the technical side of things so that we're more efficient. And of course, strength is going to play a role in your ground contact time, because essentially if you're able to produce more force when you are applying force to the ground, then essentially that gives you more air time when you do propel off the ground. Your muscles are able to withstand the force that's been applied as you strike that ground. You're able to have less movement, at your ankle, but also all the way up the chain of your leg. If you have a good core stability and you're not shaking and moving, so that all your energy and your power is being dispersed into other places. So strength does play a role as well. And also your balance is a skill, of course, but if you have good balance, it's going to help you when it comes to your ground contact times. If you have poor balance, or if you have imbalances between the two sides, you may want to work on that so that you can help, again, improve your ground contact time and again improve your sprinting. But the last thing I would say is, of course, injury, because if you are injured, if you have like an Achilles injury, if you have a knee, calf, any kind of injury, that's going to influence how well you're able to apply force, that's going to influence how well you're able to absorb the force and to reutilize it again as you react off the floor. If you have an injury, that's actually going to influence how well you're able to be springy. So those are some of the factors that can influence your ground contact time. So how can you train to improve and develop your ground contact time? So I'm going to give you guys just a few little things that you can think about, that you can add, and I'm going to point you to some videos on my channel as well that I think are going to be helpful for you, okay? But before I just jump into that, guys, if you are enjoying this video, please give it a big thumbs up to help me accelerate my channel, to let the algorithm know, and so that more athletes like you can see this video. Of course, the most specific thing you can do when it comes to improving your ground contact time for sprinting is sprinting. And this is one of the things I'm going to say a lot, because sprinting is a skill and you want to do it a lot to get very good at it, okay? And so learning to sprint efficiently, so that means technically sprint well, and the more you do it, the more efficient you're actually going to get at that, okay? And so sprinting with the correct technique, with the correct angle, all of that good stuff is going to help you to improve your ground contact time. So as you do it more, you're going to get more efficient at it, you're going to get better at it, okay? And so your ground contact time is going to naturally improve in that sense, okay? And so as you're working on your technique, you're also going to be working on your fitness. So, you know, doing those tempo runs that you need to do, doing that speed endurance that you need to do, all of those still have a very low ground contact time. And of course, plyometrics is important because it teaches you how to apply force repetitively over distance. And another thing that's great is drills. And that's why we do drill, because they also teach us how to practice applying force quickly with the correct foot position and movement patterns that you need for sprinting. So if you haven't checked out this video or this video where I take you guys through some sprint drills, then make sure to check those out next, and I'll see you guys on another Friday. Bye guys.